Hello everyone, welcome to this week's live video from the Purple Penny. My name's Mark. I own and run the Purple Penny along with my wife Catherine. We've been here in our shop in Mawson Lakes for a bit over 5 years. And basically what we do here in the shop is buy things over the counter and then sell them through the shop or via our website. We're also a Royal Australian Mint authorised distributor, so from time to time when the Royal Australian Mint releases coins, we get to sell those to people that come in here into the shop. These videos have been happening for the last few years, and we try to cover off on all the latest news and goings on in Australia in particular, but also from around the world. We also tend to have a topic of the week each week. Next week is the last week of the month, so that means it's question and answer week, which means that people during the video or prior to the video ask me questions and I do my best to answer those questions live and not make an idiot of myself. But today topic of the week is, and I've done this a few times before, but it's always worth going over, is just answering some questions that we get asked frequently here in the shop, and two of the ones that I'm going to list today have already been asked today over the phone. Thank you everyone for joining in. So we'll just say a few hellos to people. Hello Greg, John, Jason, Charles, Adam and Catherine Harris. If you're wondering, Catherine Harris commenting there is my wife. She owns and runs this business along with me. Hello Jay and hello Andrew. So let's get into the news. So we're going to the Adelaide Coin Expo first. I do the online marketing for the Adelaide Coin Expo, and the Adelaide Coin Expo is still in a bit of a state of flux. So if you've been seeing me do updates over the last few weeks, you've seen this slide here, and you'll have noticed that some text has gone, and the text that's gone is free parking, because there is now no longer free parking in the parade grounds. There will be a $10 fee for non-exhibitors to park in the parade grounds. Where are you going to park if you don't want to park, if you don't want to pay for parking? Well, on Sunday it shouldn't be a problem. You should get a park down Victoria Drive without too much of a problem. And even on Saturday, if you're there early, say before 9, you'll get a park down Victoria Drive. You do have to pay to park there. If you don't want to pay, then you should get a park on the other side of the Torrens, in between the Adelaide University Sports Grounds and the Torrens. There's a bunch of free parks over there. Alternatively, you just park in the parade grounds and it's $10 for non-exhibitors. Entry is via a gold coin donation. The Royal Australian Mint will be there doing a coin swap, and there'll be 25 plus other dealers inside. There will probably be two entrances like there were last year, one to go through to the coin swap and one for the dealers that are inside. So that's the Adelaide Coin Expo. It's the first weekend in October. Now we found out this week that I need to duck into the hospital next week and have a small procedure done. So I'll be off my feet for a few days. So that means that as of this Friday, we are closed until the 14th of August. So we're just going to be open Wednesday and Thursday this week, closing on Friday, and we won't be reopening till the 14th of August, my recuperation allowing. I'm pretty hopeful that I'll be back on my feet by then. If we're not, then we'll notify people as soon as we can. So just open Wednesday and Thursday this week, and we're opening on the 14th of August. For the first several days at least, the website will be operating as normal. Towards the end of that 2-week period, we're not quite sure yet, but as always, we'll try to keep you updated about that. Now, Peter Andrews released the latest edition of Independent Coin News late yesterday. Peter's a numismatist from Melbourne, and he's been publishing the Independent Coin News magazine for the last several months. He tries to have an issue every 2 months. It's a free online coin magazine. It's several dozen pages of peer-reviewed articles. Peer-reviewed means that each article is read by at least one or two other people in the same field who provide feedback on the content of that article. So as far as coin magazines go in Australia, it's probably the best peer-reviewed coin magazine in Australia. The magazine is distributed via a PDF file, which you can download directly from the independentcoinnews.com website. There's also a Facebook group that goes along with that, so do head over to the Facebook group and sign up there. And Peter is always looking for authors for articles to go into the magazine. He's also looking for article ideas, so if you are interested at all with the learned side of coin collecting, then go and subscribe to the free Independent Coin News magazine. The latest edition that was released yesterday includes articles on proclamation coins, rotated dies, and missing mint marks, as well as a very lengthy glossary of coin collecting terms, which I believe Catherine helped proofread that article. Now, you probably know that there was a coin release last week through Woolies, Woolworths supermarket, if you're not from Australia. Woolies, known in Australia as Woolies. There was a $2 Olympic coin release, coins going out through the till. At the same time, the Royal Mint released a pair of folders. One of the folders was $20 and contains 3 different Olympic $2 coins, and the other folder is $8 and contains a single Paralympic coloured $2 coin. Those folders, I believe, are only available from the Royal Australian Mint and Australia Post. And the coins themselves, the loose coins, are being released through the tills at Woolworths, one every 2 weeks from last Wednesday, with the last one being released on August the 28th. So there's 3 Olympic coins: Community, LA Oz, which someone has told me means Cheers Australia or Come On Australia, and Olympism. So that's the 3 Olympic coins, and then the last one on the 28th of August is the Australian Paralympic $2 coin. So new $2 coins there. We don't have them. We don't have the folders. We don't have the loose coins. They weren't offered to us. So if you do want the folder, you'll have to grab them from the Mint or from Australia Post. So we've got a few coin stories from around the world today. And this is a interesting story about the Football World Cup, which is being held in Canada, the USA and Mexico in 2028, I believe. And there's going to be a 3 coin program. The US Mint's going to release 3 coins as part of that, and legislation has been introduced to the US, whatever their government's called over there, the US Senate or the House of Representatives or whatever it's called. And there's been a bit of a stink about that. The last time a World Cup was held in the USA, there was a coin program that raised $9.3 million in profit, and it was all passed directly onto youth football development in the USA. This time, FIFA, who are the governing body of world football, and by football I mean soccer. Here in Australia, football is called soccer, but I'll use the proper term for it. The football coin releases are being managed by FIFA themselves through a company that they own, and they are basically dictating how the coins are marketed and how they're sold and things like that. And a US numismatic industry body, which is accountable to the American Numismatic Society, and a body of traders, are basically raising concerns with that legislation for a few reasons. Firstly, the mintage specified in the legislation can be changed arbitrarily, which is a bit of a bait and switch for collectors there. The profits are proposed to be shared with Canada and Mexico, even though it is a US coin release. And the profits from the actual release themselves are going straight to a company which is owned by FIFA, who then dictate where that money is spread. American football in 1994 used the money solely for youth game development, and this numismatic body is concerned that the money could effectively be used for anything in US football, including a fancy new headquarters for the governing body, which perhaps some people don't see as a good use of the money. The other problem with it is that FIFA gets to dictate the distribution of the coin. So if a huge coin dealer in Europe decides that they want a big portion of the mintage and makes FIFA an offer that they can't refuse, and FIFA will supply coins to them in preference to the US public, and those profits will be lost then to the US public. So it just goes to show you that releasing a coin isn't as easy as just coming up with a design and minting it. There's a lot of backroom machinations that go on with these things. Certainly through releases we get from the mint, sometimes it's dictated where and when we can sell those. So some of them we're not allowed to sell out of Australia. We're certainly not allowed to talk about releases before certain dates. And we've certainly had releases knocked on the head 24 hours before they were supposed to be released because of some sort of internal problem at the mint. So there's always other things going on other than just making the coins themselves. Now the next story I found in Numismatic News magazine, and they're conducting a coin-focused guided tour of the UK at the end of September and the beginning of October. So the editors of two online coin magazines, Numismatic News and World Coin News, are going to host a guided tour in the UK for 7 days, and it's going to be focused on coins, the history of coins and coin collecting. So if you were to take part in this tour, you'd get to go to the British Museum, you get to go to CoinEx 2024, which is a big coin show in London. You get taken over to Wales and do a VIP tour of the Royal Mint in Llantrisant in Wales, and they'll also be visiting several museums which have extensive numismatic exhibits. I believe that you have to find your own way there, but once you get there, if you pay for the tour, all of your accommodation and breakfasts and some meals are included, as are all of the transfers. It sounds like an absolute it would be an absolute blast. 7 days of coin after coin after coin, surrounded by people who are interested in coins. And if that's something that you'd like to do, contact numismaticnews.net and see if you can secure a spot with that guided tour. It's guided. It's hosted by the editor of numismaticnews.net and worldcoinnews.net. I can't imagine a better coin-based holiday than that. Now, while we're on the subject of the Royal Mint, there's an end of an era coming with the Royal Mint. The Royal Mint, which was in the Tower of London until the early 1970s and then moved to Wales, has minted coins for over 1,000 years and has actually minted coins for almost 700 years for other countries. And that comes as a surprise to some people. In 2021 they minted 437 different releases for other countries, and that has declined to just 56 releases for other countries in 22-23, and they have made the decision to end 700 years of history, and at the end of this year they'll be ceasing world coin production for other countries and focusing solely on creating coins for the United Kingdom. And a new business venture which they have been doing for the last few years. The Royal Mint has built and is in the process of building a dedicated factory or plant for the recovery of gold from recycled electronics. And they're using that gold to either invest for the British government to sell as bullion, and they've also released a designer jewellery range called 886 Jewellery. 886 being the year of founding of the Royal Mint, and that jewellery is made from gold recovered from those electronics. So the 200 staff who are going to lose their jobs when world coin production ceases at the end of this year will be moved to that recycling plant. So that is the end of an era for coin collecting, I suspect. Even Australia had many coins that were minted by the Royal Mint as late as let me think, perhaps 1981 might be the last time the Royal Mint made coins for Australia. Now someone will correct me if I'm wrong there, but certainly the Charles and Diana 50-cent pieces in 1981 were minted there. 1951 PL coins were minted there. All of the silver coins from 1910 to 1915 were minted in the UK. Some of them were minted at the Heaton Mint in Birmingham. So Australia's coin series has a long history and association with the Royal Mint as well. So a little bit sad that that's not happening anymore, but things must move forward. Now, the next story was a follow-on from the story we had last week about new Japanese banknotes being released. Turns out that the Japanese have a long history of making their banknotes from a certain type of paper. And I guess if you know the Japanese culture, that probably doesn't come as a great surprise. And the paper itself is known as washi, and it's made from the Mitsumata plant. And the Mitsumata plant is a low-growing bush with paper-like bark. And that paper has been used to make Japanese banknotes for many centuries, and it has been prized for its texture and the ease of printing, and also the difficulty in counterfeiting notes made with that paper. Now, the Mitsumata plant is also known as the Nepalese paper bush. And for the last 15 years or so, the Japanese government has been importing Nepalese paper bark from Nepal and China. And you can see in the picture there racks of Nepalese paper bark drying prior to being exported to Japan. And it's actually grows well in the foothills of the Himalayas, which is a fairly remote part of the world. And Japan recognised 15 years ago that they needed extra supplies of this particular material because of low levels of availability in Japan. And the Japanese government founded a Nepalese charity, and the Nepalese charity actually travels around Nepal helping farmers with the growth and cultivation of this particular plant so that Japan can call on them to supply the bark to their banknote industry. So that Japanese charity will train and educate local farmers and will pay to install wells to ensure that this particular plant is irrigated correctly. So just again goes to show you there's a lot more behind the manufacture of coin and banknotes than perhaps what you might think. I thought that was a really interesting story. Right, we'll just say a few hellos before we jump into the topic of the day. Hello Jason, hello Charles, Adam, Catherine, Ted, Jay, Andrew, Adam, Peter, Ray, Antonius, Gary. Let me just see who else is here. Sorry, it just moved. Tanya, Michelle, Todd, Coinstruck, Bevan, and Matt. Thank you everyone for the well wishes for next week. It's not a big deal. I'm sure I'll be okay. But thank you for the well wishes. It is much appreciated. Coinstruck is Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Thank you for joining in, and just thanks to everyone for joining in. I do enjoy the interaction with this video. These videos, I wouldn't do it if I didn't get the interaction that we did. I will just preface this, the topic of the day. If you're here in the shop with us, and a lot of the people that are watching the videos, watching the video today, spend a bit of time here in the shop, and we do have regulars that spend time here in the shop. If you hear Catherine and I answer the phone, you don't have to be in here very often to hear us answering the same questions, and you don't have to be in here very long to hear us giving the same answers to the same questions. And that's because Catherine and I have spent the last few years, I guess, fine-tuning the way that we answer the questions that we get asked all the time to, I guess, there's a few things that we try to manage. We try to manage people's expectations, because most of the phone calls we get are people asking us what things are worth, and unfortunately most things aren't worth anything. So we do try to manage people's expectations. We do have a business to run, so sometimes we need to do a bit of time management, and that means that if people try to come in here with money boxes full of decimal coins or things like that, then, you know, while we always welcome people to bring them in, we do try to head that off and have those people not bring them in, because there's very rarely anything in them that we buy, and our time is limited, and it costs several $1,000s a month to just have this shop sitting here and nothing going on. So, you know, we while I always say you should put money to one side when you're collecting coins, we do need to make a profit here, at least to just cover our costs. And I guess the last reason is that we do get unfortunately, some people who can be a bit aggressive and a bit upset on the phone, and we do need to just control that and try to do our best to calm people down when they're on the phone. And so, a lot of what we say comes from long experience. But it is worth, I guess, just answering a few of those questions to you video watchers out there and explaining why we answer the questions the way we do. And for people to understand that we're not being short with people. There's a reason why we say what we do. So let's just have a look at this top one here. Is probably the most common question that we have. Someone rings up on the phone and says, "I've got a 1977 Commonwealth Games, 1977 Silver Jubilee 50-cent piece. Do you buy those?" And we say, "No, we don't buy them." And almost invariably the next question is, "Well, what coins do you buy?" And that is virtually it's an impossible question. It's an impossible question to answer. So a lot of what we say is to try and understand what coins the person has, so that we can let them know whether it's worth bringing them in or not. Now, why is it an impossible question to answer what questions we do buy? Well, this is a coin catalogue for coins from 1701 to 1800. 1,284 pages. And if pretty much any coin that came in out of that catalogue, we would be happy to buy. So I'm not going to read out every coin in that catalogue to what someone wants to know what coins we buy. That's one century. This is a banknote catalogue from 1368 to 1960. 1,330 pages. Okay, and there are notes in there that we would buy, and there are notes that we wouldn't. So I'm not going to read out what's in that book, and not read out the things that we don't want to buy. So you can see that it is an impossible question to answer. What coins do we buy? There's 1901 to 2000. How many pages is this sucker? 2,297 pages. Let me just say that again. 2,297 pages. And a lot of the coins in there we wouldn't want to buy. So we simply can't answer what coins do you buy. If someone's interested in what pennies we'll buy, we'll list off some key dates. If someone's interested in what half pennies we'll buy, we'll list off some key dates. But generally, if people ask us what coins do we buy, we respond with what coins do you have, and we encourage them to either bring them in and show them to us or send us through some pictures. And we're not trying to avoid the question, it's just an impossible question to answer. So when you ask what coins do we buy, there's no answer, and that's why. The next question, can I sell you, and in brackets, some random collection of Australian pocket change? And I did have a nice conversation with a lady last week. She wanted to bring her 3 teenage sons in here with all of their $2 coins that they'd found in change and sell them. And she thought that they should be able to double their money. And unfortunately, there is very little out of change that any coin dealer will buy. And that's because, with patience, the coins that collectors find in change, the coin dealer can find themselves. So there is no shortage of supply of any of that stuff. Additionally, there is no demand. There is no demand for it. There's no demand for circulated 1968 10-cent pieces or circulated firefighter $2 coins. Again, we are in the business of running a business here. It does cost several $1,000s a month to just have this shop sitting here. And there is nothing for us to make from dealing in pocket change. And we have changed our answer to this over the years because we made some mistakes when we got started and bought $2 coins at just above face value, and then got monstered for, I guess they believe, ripping people off, because we were buying coins for $2.50 that we sold for $4 or something like that. Massive profit there. So as a consequence, we no longer buy coins out of change, and if possible, we encourage people not to bring them in, because A, there'll be nothing in there that we would pay for, and B, we don't have the time to sit and look through hundreds of dollars of change. So no, you cannot sell us your random accumulation of Australian pocket change. We always encourage people to collect it though, because it's as close to a free hobby as you can get, collecting coins out of change. I think when people get started, they're amazed at the different varieties of coins in their change, and you continually find new ones, and you can always look for better examples for the ones that you've already got. And if you get sick of it, and we say this to everyone, if you ever get sick of collecting coins out of your change, you can always spend it. It's always worth what you paid for it. So just because we don't buy it doesn't mean we look down on people who collect it. It's just that it's not something that we want to deal with, and it's something that we always encourage people to do as a good entry into the hobby. Similarly, can I sell you your random collection of pocket change from overseas? Now, this comes around to a lot of people who see a coin they haven't seen before and instantly think that it's rare, and therefore it must be valuable. But often all it is pocket change from overseas. Almost every house in Australia has a drawer or a tub or a bag or a box with all the holiday money that you've ever brought back from every overseas holiday you've ever been on. And if anyone ever gets a whiff that you've got a box of coins like that, then they'll give you theirs too. So almost every house in Australia has a box of random pocket change from overseas. Now, can you bring that in and sell it to us? Yes, you can. And if you come in here, you can see the buckets and buckets full of random pocket change we have from other countries. We pay a kilo rate for it, and we sell it by the kilo as well. So, there is a market for it. And, the profits on it are very small. It's a lot of work, but we do buy it and we do resell it. So there is a way of getting rid of it. Now, the best value way of getting rid of it, and this is not for us, but this is for the people who own it, is to go back on holidays and spend it. If the country still accepts that money, that is the best value way of getting rid of it, is to go back on holidays and spend it. You can't exchange it at a change booth, because most change booths won't take coins. So that's a problem. If you are feeling charitable, you could donate it in one of those big coin things at the airport where they use the money for charity. So that's the other ways to get rid of those coins. The one thing that we do people the credit of when they bring in world coins like that is we do look through them. We don't just weigh them up and pay them without looking at them. We do look through them. And often we'll ask, you're going on holidays to New Zealand, we'll give all the high value New Zealand coins back, or we'll find some earlier coins that are made out of silver, or we'll find some collectible coins and we'll pay them more for that. So we do give people our time here, and we do our best to maximise what they get for their coins, and so hopefully everyone wins out of that. But just because you find a 1971 1-cent piece from the USA in your drawer doesn't make it valuable. It is just a 1971 1-cent piece that you can take to America and spend. Right, the next one. This coin is really old and must be valuable. So I will just start off with what does really old mean, because I did get a text message from someone last week who had a 1976 10-cent piece and said he has a really old 1976 10-cent piece and could he bring it in and sell it. And I responded with, you can still spend that, and 1976 isn't very old, and in coin collecting terms 1976 is virtually brand new, which came as a shock to him. So, and even coins in the last 100 years are not that old. One of the most common type of coin we see in here are worn out British pennies and half pennies from the late 19th century and the early 20th century. Yes, it's 120 to 150 years old, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not that long ago. Usually it's worn out, and it is just old, worn out money. It did circulate here and in Britain, and it is still all very common. And for something that is really old, if you've been watching our website last week, you would have seen a couple of dozen ancient coins posted up, and we had coins posted up that ranged in price from I think about $90 to about $400. Now, just about all of those coins were between 1700 and 2100 years old. So these are some seriously old coins, but they did only value from $90 to $400. So, for some collectors that's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a whole lot for something that's 2,000 years old. And we have sold a number of 1800-year-old coins here for $10 each. So even if something is genuinely old, it doesn't mean that it's particularly valuable either. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So age, there is not a strong correlation between age and value, I'm afraid. Now, the last one here is probably the one that everyone was expecting me to say, which is when people ring us up and ask us what something is worth, and when we give them the answer, and a good example here, and I followed Catherine's example here when she responded to someone one day, was about a 1977 Jubilee 50 cent, and we get several phone calls a week about those, about what they're worth. And her response was, if you bring $1 in here, I'll give you $2. I'll swap you $1 coin for $2. And that usually heads off the conversation almost immediately. But still, I had a phone call on Friday from a lovely lady. She was very friendly about her Jubilee 50 cent piece. And when she asked me what it was worth and I told her nothing, she was stunned. She was absolutely stunned. She'd read many articles online and many news stories, and she was convinced these things were valuable. The only thing I can tell people is that, here, and this is where the rubber hits the road, this is where the coins get sold and where they get bought. They don't get sold and bought in Yahoo Finance articles and on TikTok and places like that. This is where they get bought and sold. If Catherine and I tell you something isn't valuable, it isn't. I mean, that's as good as I can say. It isn't, and it doesn't matter how many news articles you can quote to me and TikTok videos you can show me. It just ain't. And I love the internet, and I've been on the internet for its entire existence, and we couldn't have grown this business the way we have without the internet. But there is a heck of a lot of misinformation out there, and a lot of the time it's not just misinformation, it's just plain wrong. The people who write it think it's right, but it is just plain wrong. It is just plain wrong. So there's some questions that we get asked, and there's our answers and why we answer them. I hope that sort of gives you a bit of enlightenment about what goes on here in the shop and why we say what we do. I'll just have a look at some comments before we head off today. Todd says he knows a few noodlers that can help you sort through money boxes. Now, I think noodling is great, and I understand why people do it. But Catherine and I don't have the time for it. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, the varieties and things that noodlers look for, while they are interesting and they might, in theory, be worth a few multiples of face value, no one ever pays for them. It's just the noodlers that want them, and they just want to find them for face value. Greg says no need for anyone to be abused. No, look, Greg, I would say that 999 people out of 1,000 that ring us are as polite as could be. We get very few people on the phone or in the shop that genuinely upset us. The one thing about this job that always amazes me is just how nice everyone is. Everyone is nice. And the people that aren't, well, I don't think there's a lot we can do about that. We do our best to avoid it, but there's not much we can do about it. Hello, Gwen. Ted says, I wonder if the mother was a coin valuer, if they are worth twice value. So that's just in reference to the lovely lady who wanted to bring her sons in her last week to sell their coloured coins. It is very easy to jump onto eBay and look at unsold listings and think that coloured coins are worth a lot. And, to be honest, a lot of the colour coins, if you can find the right person, you might be able to sell them for more than face value. But you have to sell them directly to a collector. There's no margin in it for people like us, and we have to control the quality of the product that we sell. There's no point having sort of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of coins that have very small markups on them that move ever so slowly. So it really just means for a lot of coins we've chosen not to deal with them. And circulated coloured coins and circulated decimal coins and things like that, a lot of those we just choose not to deal with. It's not, unfortunately, worth our time. PCE Supercore says trying to cash or exchange foreign coins is very eye-opening or educational. Yeah, it's virtually impossible to cash coins from other countries here in Australia. Virtually impossible. Greg says you can donate your coins to the Royal Society for the Blind. Now you can donate decimal coins through the donation dog that's here in our shop to See Differently, who used to be known as the Royal Society for the Blind. You can donate decimal coins. They don't take world coins though. So if you wanna, you can sell us the world coins and then donate the money for that into the dog that's here. Hello, Peter. And then PCE Supercore says, oh, it must be valuable because eBay was selling it for $10,000. Well, yeah, that's right. Matt says, do you have a weekly Bluey price chart? No, I don't. I did not get supplied with that this morning, but I didn't ask for it either. So I think that'll do for the day. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle says, have I got earplugs and or hiring a runner for Catherine? Yes, I do have earplugs. I'm all set, I think. Hello, Detlef. And Gail says, I'm new, so sorry if this has been explained before. How did you choose your name, the Purple Penny? Catherine's favourite colour is purple. Let's give the 30-second version of this story. Catherine's favourite colour is purple. Every now and again you'll find a 1964 Melbourne minted penny which has toned either electric blue or electric purple, and this is natural toning. It's not toning coming from poor storage or things like that. It's quite distinctive, this sort of natural toning. Catherine has a good collection of those electric blue Melbourne pennies, and I can tell you that they are extremely rare. Since we've been here in the shop, we've probably handled 20,000 1964 M pennies and maybe found one with some decent colour on it. Anyway, the rarer colour to find is purple. It's like an electric metallic purple. It's like no other purple you've ever seen. And there is one example of that coin that we know of, which is electric purple on both sides, and it's owned by a friend of ours. And he won't sell it to Catherine, and he's always said when he passes away that she can have it. So it's been a long-running joke, 15-year joke. And when we were setting up this business, we thought, well, we need a brand rather than just being Mark and Catherine's coin shop. So this particular purple penny is known as the Purple Penny. So we just decided that we would be the Purple Penny rather than Catherine and Mark's coin shop. So that's where the name came from. And I would say that as far as starting a business go, it was just about the best decision we ever made, was choosing that. Right, yes, Catherine is known as Purple Girl. If you know Catherine from years ago in coin collecting circles and coin forums and stuff, she was known as Purple Girl, or PPH, Purple Penny Hunter. So she still is keen on her purple pennies. Right, that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. Next week there will be a video on Monday. It's the last Friday of the month, so that's question and answer day. If you've got any questions, please email me, send me a Facebook message, or give us a call. That'll be the last video though for a couple of weeks. I'll probably have the next week off just while I'm recuperating. Bye for now, everyone. Thanks for joining in. It's been a great video, very enjoyable. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Bye for now.